this way, Spain became not only a symbol of the fight against fascists for many intellectuals and workers affiliated to the trade unions, but an experiment for exploring the viability of the social revolution. As Dan Richardson has observed, most of the foreigners who went to Spain to fight in the militias of the Popular Front were not moved by the defense of the Republic, but also by their participation in the revolution. Inspired by this initial atmosphere, Orwell traveled to Spain as a journalist to report what was happening to the English working class. However, when he arrived in Barcelona, he recognized immediately a state of affairs worth fighting for. Orwell described in an idyllic way how he discovered a city that was transformed into a proletarian state. Walking down the Ramblas, he was captivated by this image of the first sight. Servile and even ceremonial forms of speech had temporarily disappeared. Nobody said señor or don or even usted. Everyone called everyone else comrade and you and said salud instead of buenos días. In outward appearance, it was a town in which the wealthy classes had practically ceased to exist. After a one-week training in the Lenin barracks, Orwell joined the coup militia at the Aragon Front that was led by Charles-de-Gaulle, a Belgian engineer volunteer who would be involved in the riots in Barcelona. Until February 1937, the Spanish militias were organized by the different trade unions and political parties, such as the CNT-FAI, the Anarchist Union, el Partido Comunista Español, the Communist Party, la UGT, the Union of Socialist Workers, and the CUN, the Communist Revolutionary Party. The militia columns varied greatly from one to another, not forming parts of a single army, but independent groups of armed men and women controlled by autonomous political faction. In contrast to the usual idea that we have of an army, the militias were characterized fundamentally by anti-militarism, and thereby they proposed an alternative model to the bourgeoisie hierarchy based on social equality. Even the president of the Spanish Republic, named in September 1956, Francisco Lago Caballero, recognized privately that he had no control of the various political elements supporting the Popular Front during this period. As Orwell explained, this revolutionary army did not wear an uniform, but a multiform. Thus, the first time that Orwell met a real fascist in Albuquerque, he recognized that he was indistinguishable from them, except because he wore a khaki uniform like the supposed enemy. However, the romantic image of the Spanish militia posed some problems into the practice. The militia was composed of men and women at least until February 1937, with no rank, no titles, but also without weapons, food, and other provisions. In this way, Orwell's opinion of the Spaniards came from admiration to desperation. In fact, the general disorganization was not only a consequence of the libertarian approach, it was also due to Spanish cultural aspects that Orwell described as a kind of anthropologist, making an interesting study of Spanish temperament. In Orwell's words, every foreigner who served in the militia spent his first few weeks in learning to love the Spaniards and in being exasperated by certain of their characteristics. The Spaniards are good for many things, but not at making war. The only Spanish word that no foreigner can about learning is mañana, tomorrow, literally the morning. Whenever it is conceivably possible, the business of today is put off until mañana. This is so notorious that even Spaniards themselves make jokes about it. Besides Orwell's impression about the Spaniards, Orwell's experience in the militias at the Aragon Front was not idyllic, neither heroic, but most likely tragicomic, as if he were a kind of bishop fighting against a fictional enemy. Exasperated with the inactivity of the Aragon Front, Orwell described as Homage how the Spaniards used to make war, not with weapons, surely because they had any, but with megaphones trying to cover the enemy instead of shooting him. The time he spent in the Aragon Front was fully defined through the physical memories, every decoration, the sound, the smells, and the surface of things. The life in the trench was characterized by the very little military action, the lack of aliments, cigarettes and munitions, the excrements, and overall, the very cold winter in Western that was what he called the smell of the war. As Patricia is here today, has observed in a recent publication on the Spanish Civil War, this description will cover the collective memory of the First World War, and in particular the tradition of the anti-war books, such as those of Orwell and secret session, for emphasizing the horrors of the war from the point of view of the individual soldier.